Welcome to the Piston Fanatic. I'm your host, Dave Dalton, and I'm excited to share my passion and perspective of our Detroit Pistons as we go on this fantastic voyage together. I've been a diehard Piston fan since the days of Dave Bing and Bob Lanier. I've also been the varsity basketball coach of a very successful program in northern Michigan. Thank you so much for listening. I appreciate each and every one of you. Please subscribe if you haven't yet, and also click on that like button. It helps out the video. So tonight, another great win for our Detroit Pistons. We've struggled a couple games recently, but we came out and we knocked off the Rockets 107-96. Our defense was sensational. The Rockets are the number 2 seed in the tough Western Conference. They were 28-13 coming into tonight. They had beaten us at home, and we came out and we did a number on them. Our defense was so good. We held them 39% shooting from the floor and 28% shooting on threes. We were tough, and we out-rebounded them 62-48, and we had some great performances. Cade Cunningham, you got to vote. Today's the last day to vote for the All-Star game, and your vote counts for 3 votes today. And so several times during the All-Star voting, they would have special days where your vote counted for 3 votes. So please vote today, and he still can get in even if he's not in the top vote getters if the coaches or the media give him enough votes. But he had 32 points, and he almost had a quadruple double though. He had 32 points, and he had 9 rebounds, 1 rebound away from getting 10, 7 assists, 10 turnovers. So it's hard to say that a guy was so unbelievable when he had 10 turnovers, and he we don't need that. In the second quarter, we struggled. We scored 40 points in the first quarter. We came out, we ran them right off the floor, and we got steals and deflections and fast breaks, and then we scored 40 in the first quarter. Then we scored 17 in the second quarter. Part of that was Cade had a lot of turnovers in the second quarter. But we've seen this. How many times have we seen this over the last couple of years where Cade struggles in the first half, and then he comes out in the second half, and you think they know just how to defend him, but he came out in the third quarter, 7 out of 8. He made 7 out of 8 shots, and they were not layups. He shot fadeaway jumpers with guys like Dylan Brooks and Amen Thompson. So they were guarding him with their best guys, and they're one of the best defensive teams in the league. And they could not stop him. He had 19 points in the third quarter. Like I said, 7 for 8. And so he ended up the game with 32 points. He didn't score in the fourth quarter. So in the fourth quarter, they came out and they trapped him. I mean, even they trapped him full court. They would just send a second player at him as soon as he got the inbounds pass. And they trapped him, after he got over half court. But yeah, he was guarded by tough defenders. They were looking to stop him, and he still just came out and dominated the game. But the other guy, Jalen Duren, again, I can't say enough because it's true. There are a lot of Piston fans that don't want him and want to get rid of him. But I'm just going to tell you, this year, we want to make the playoffs. I want us to make the playoffs. I want us to get the 6th seed. I want us to win every game we can. But we've listened to Trajan Langdon. He says we are not going to do anything to forfeit or to not get us to a point where we can have a sustained run of success. So we got Cade. We know Cade's an all-star, an all-NBA player. Jaden Ivey played phenomenal. We know we haven't seen enough, but if we go off and trade for a perimeter player, who are they going to take minutes away from? Already Holland's only playing 16 minutes, and Asar got to play 22 minutes tonight. I want those guys to play more. If we trade for a wing that is a shot creator, which we need somebody else that can create shots, and we could be a backup point guard or whatever. But then we don't find out about these other guys, and the same thing with Jalen Duren. So Jalen Duren, he plays 30 minutes. He is 8 for 8 shooting, 14 rebounds, 6 offensive rebounds, and even Cade said this. They interviewed him immediately after the game, and he contests and goes after rebounds, and sometimes he tips them and somebody else gets the rebounds, but he's down there fighting and challenging for every rebound. But he had those 14 rebounds, 6 offensive, 3 assists, 4 steals. He had 4 steals, and I think that's a season high. 2 blocks, and we need a rim protector. I can see why people think we would need a rim protector. I would, but they're not growing on trees. There's not all these guys that are great shot blockers. My guy Richard Brooks, who is very knowledgeable, you need to follow him on Twitter, and he posted something about and shared with me that our center position is one of the best in the league in blocks. If you add up other team center positions, even Wemby, if you add Duren's and Stu's and B-Ball Paul, who plays very little, and you add their all blocks all together for that center position for 48 minutes, it's one of the tops in the league. And it's just, Paul, I know B-Ball Paul played against the Suns, and he had amazing numbers again in short minutes, but he didn't get to play tonight. So it's hard. Stu only played 18 minutes tonight, so that it's hard. You can't play everybody. It's easy to say, let's trade and get another big guy. Well, what are you going to do unless you trade Duren? But again, you got a 21-year-old that does what he did tonight, and he has other good nights. And so, he does have a lot of room to grow that he needs to grow. But he will have him on a decent contract, and I don't know. We'll just see what happens. But I just think this year we need to find out instead of making the big swing. And I think a guy like Zach LaVine, he's phenomenal. He's had the year. We could have got him dirt cheap. Everybody could have got him dirt cheap. Now you can't get him dirt cheap. He's been one of the best players in the NBA, and so I don't know what it would take to trade for him. And I don't know how. I guess unless they really wanted to dump him and nobody wanted him because his contract's quite high. But our team. Again, I hope we make the 6th seed. I hope we win a round of the playoffs. Do I think we are? I wouldn't bet on it, but anything's possible. But the main thing is these young guys got to develop, and they got to grow, and we got to find out what we have and evaluate and know how much money do we give Duren if we give him the extension. We just got to find a lot of things out. So it was fun. It was fun. Like I said, we took down the team that was number 2 in the West and had a good record. We moved our record back up to 22-21. We're 12-10 on the road. We're better on the road than we are at home, and we got tough road games coming ahead. But it was a great win for us. But vote for Cade. Your vote counts for 3 votes. Can't say that enough. He had this chase down block on Tari Eason. He was wide open. Cade wasn't anywhere close to him. Cade busted his butt, ran down there, jumped over the rim, blocked his shot without fouling, and the ball went off Eason. That was a great play. And then another time, Cade drives right through down the lane. There's 4 Rockets surrounding him, and he dunks it on him. And that was just really cool to watch. So JB said, they talked to JB about the turnovers and stuff. He said that Cade wants to be coached. And he wants to be coached hard. He wants to get better. And he said most of the time he knows what he's done wrong. So I said I don't really need to tell him, but he knows. I know that's what we got to know about these players. They don't want to miss shots. They don't want to make. Does Cade want to make 10 turnovers? Like I said, he had a lot of good shots in the second quarter. He just missed them. And then he just made those turnovers in the second quarter. And so I had a feeling that he was going to come out determined. I didn't know, though, how much the Rockets, they have such a good defensive team, how easy it was going to be for him to score. But, at the end of the third quarter, we were up 90-80. Cade, again, had 19 points in that quarter. And Cade comes out of the game to start the fourth. 3.5 minutes into the fourth quarter, we haven't scored. And I thought, oh, my gosh. And then we let him, they catch back up to us. And then Sasser, who hadn't had a very good game, and it's hard for these guys. Sasser, Cade, and Ron Holland are all from Texas, and so Sasser played at University of Houston for 4 years, and so it was fun. He got 5 points. He's got this really tough drive, high off the glass, and then he hit a 3, and that really got us back on track. And after that, those were key buckets for us. So. It's interesting, Big Perk that's on ESPN. He's talking, there's games on ESPN today for Martin Luther King Day, and he's talking about, do you guys remember when Cade came out in the draft and I said that he's the best perimeter prospect since LeBron? and he says it's time to revisit that now. Nobody was saying anything good about Cade until just recently, and I just wonder even now. Cade had all that publicity. He had those 330-point games plus in a row, and then he had a couple bad games. Partway, it's when again, they put their toughest players on him. A lot of teams are trapping him. I think they're going to trap him more. We got to come up with a really good plan, but it was still cool to see that Perk said that on national TV. And again, Cade's getting quite a bit of national publicity, and so that's really good. But we got a tough schedule coming up. We're on the road again for 5 games. This is the first game, so that was a huge win for us, not only to get revenge on the Rockets. And I hate Dylan Brooks. He wasn't such a jerk tonight. And I hate Jalen Green, even though he's been phenomenal lately. And I just, whatever I don't like about him, you're not supposed to hate anybody. But I got to jump back to this. So not only was Duren great doing all those things, but him and Stu, they did a number on Şengün. So a lot of people think Şengün is an all-star, that he's their best player. I hear it all the time on different podcasts. He was 5 for 14 today. That doesn't even tell the story. How many times he got the ball isolated in the post. We never sent a double. And Stu and Duren just stayed right on him. He made moves. He made counter moves. He's got lots of moves in his bag. And he's got a nice soft touch and all these different shots. But he's 5 for 14, and he had to kick it out a whole bunch of times. He couldn't even get a shot off because Duren and Stu were so tough on defense. And so, yeah, that was a huge part of the game. And yeah, I started talking about our upcoming schedule. So we got the Hawks been really hot, and we got to go play them Wednesday. So we're playing these Eastern Conference teams. Again, there's so many people bunched in the East. If we come out and we lose these next 4 in a row, we're going to go drop down to, like the 11th seed or something. I don't know how low we would drop, but it's all possible. The Hawks are tough, and they're playing at home. Then we got to go. That's on Wednesday. Saturday, we got to travel to Orlando and play the Magic. They got Banchero back, and I'm not sure if they will have Franz back by then. But they're tough. They were winning games without Franz and Banchero and Suggs. They're incredible with the way they've been able to do things. And then we got to go play at the Cavs, top team by far in the Eastern Conference. Them along with Oklahoma City, the 2 best teams clearly in the NBA at the moment. And we play them on Monday. Then we got to go to the Pacers, our arch rival, on the next Wednesday. So that's a week from this Wednesday. And so that'll be a battle at their place. Then we get to finally come home and we play the Mavs on the Friday. And they still have Kyrie. I don't know if Luka will be back by then, but they have some good players that have been stepping up for them. After the game, Beasley got interviewed. And we thought we were going to get to hear Duren. I wanted to get Duren to get the chance to have his moment in the sun. But he didn't, whatever happened, he didn't get it to make it to the interview podium. But Beasley said, we know that we can be a great team. And he said, we made tremendous gains. We're getting better. But the key thing that I took away from what he was talking about is he said, we have the best chemistry in the league. And, hard to gauge that or hard to prove that, but I can tell you one thing. One of the reasons we have such great chemistry is because of Malik Beasley. And so, apologize for my dog. She's a yapper. I have 2 dogs, but the one doesn't usually stay with me, and that's the one that's barking. But anyway, he's played on a bunch of teams. I know he just got done playing with the Bucks. He played with the Lakers. He played with the Utah Jazz, and I think he might have played with one other team besides the Pistons. So he knows, and he can compare teams. A lot of our young guys, they've only played on one team and stuff, but he says that our chemistry is unmatched. And so anyway, that was cool to hear. So run through the box scores. Asar, 22 minutes, not a great shooting night, 5 for 12, 1 for 2 from the free throw line, but he had 9 rebounds, 4 offensive. And he, again, just like I said about Duren, he challenges for a lot of rebounds. He gets his hands on balls and stuff. He had 1 block, 11 points. He got the win over his brother. His brother had 17 points, but I'm sure he played more minutes. But Tobias gets to play a lot of minutes, and he had a good plus minus thing. He played 33 minutes, but he was only 2 for 9, 0 for 1 on threes, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 steals, 4 points. So he still does things. I mean, to get 4 rebounds, 3 assists, and 3 steals, that's contributing. I gave you Duren's stats. Hardaway played 30 some minutes. Was 3 for 6, 2 for 4 on threes, 2 for 2 on free throws, no rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal, 10 points. I gave you Cade stats already. He was 5 for 5 from the line, went 3 for 5 on threes, and looked effortless tonight when he shot it. Beasley, 30 minutes, 5 for 12, not great at all, and he's only 3 for 9 on threes, which that's 33%. That's still okay, but it's not when he's such an elite shooter. But he was 4 for 4 from the line, 1 rebound, 1 assist, 2 steals, 17 points. Led our bench. Fontecchio. So I love Fontecchio. If you listen to this podcast, you know that. And I really thought he was going to contribute way more this year, but he's never really got the chance to play the minutes. But I don't have a problem with tonight he came in the first half. He played 12 minutes, and he was 0 for 3, 0 for 2 on threes. He had 3 rebounds in only 12 minutes, but still, he was kind of forcing shots and rushing shots, and I feel like he feels so much pressure to show what he can do. But if he doesn't play very well, and you got other guys that are playing better, then you should play him. And I say the same thing about Tobias and Hardaway and Beasley. If they're having an off game, don't play them as much. And it seems like Holland plays more minutes. It seems like you see him do all this stuff, and he only played 16 minutes tonight. But he was 1 for 3, 1 for 2 on threes. He got a rebound, 2 assists, 3 points. But he's everywhere still. He causes things to happen. He almost came up with a bunch of balls that he still gets too many fouls called on him, but he's very, very active. And again, we need to see what if he didn't show that he's capable of contributing, if his shot wasn't starting to look a lot better, and I wouldn't say to play him. I would say play him in the G League. Don't play him these minutes, or if he's not having a good game, or if the game's close, don't play him. But he was playing Asar and Holland together right down until like 2:30 left in the fourth quarter. He had those guys out on the court, and I think that's partway why we shut them down. I mean, they couldn't hardly score in the second half. I wrote it down somewhere, but I can't remember. But they hardly scored in the second half. So Stu had 18 minutes. So if Duren plays 30 minutes, then there's only 18 minutes left for Stu. So that's why it's so hard to say that B-Ball Paul, I love him. And he doesn't even have a bad game. Every game he does remarkable things in limited minutes. But, then you got to take the minutes away from somebody. So anyway, Stu was 3 for 6. He had the worst plus minus yet, but he did have 8 rebounds and a block. And by the way, Hardaway took another charge tonight, which he's second in the league in charges drawn. But like I said, we shut them down, and we out-rebounded them by a lot. They did get too many offensive rebounds. They had 15 offensive rebounds. We only had 13, and we had a lot more defensive rebounds, of course, because they were missing lots of shots. But yeah, it was fun. Piston fans, you got to enjoy this. The ascension is so much fun. So just like it's heartbreaking our Lions lost, and it's been fun watching them build and build. And now though, you're going to see that there's going to be more and more pressure that we felt like we came up short, that we didn't make it to the Super Bowl. That if we would have lost, I think people would have been satisfied happy if we would have made it to the Super Bowl, even if we didn't win the Super Bowl. But anyway, when you got an up and coming team, and I alluded to this before about when Isaiah Thomas, he was on our team before we got Dumars and Rodman and Sally and those guys, we were still really fun to watch, and we were just starting to ascend, and that's what this team is. And we've had some great games that are really fun to watch, and again, tonight was one of them. So thank you all for listening. I appreciate every one of you. Be the reason that someone feels loved and cared for. And let's go Pistons. Beat the Hawks.